in the world is not a short-term proposition, folks. We can save this great nation, but it's going to take all of us. Why? Because we are America.
Herman Cain. Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain. Thank you for joining us, because you know we're going to tell you the truth. Give you the facts, because we want you to be better informed and inspired to help make this a better United States of America. Thank you for joining us. Happening now. It's the third day of the Neil Gorsuch confirmation hearings, which resumed about 30 minutes ago. Republicans confidently predict that he'll win confirmation despite liberal opposition. And remember, a lot of members of the press are trying to press Mitch McConnell into whether or not he'll use the nuclear option if he has to. He doesn't need to show his hand. They just want to put that out there so the Democrats can figure out a way to kill it before it happens. Now, then you have the unrealistic demand by some Democrats for Gorsuch's confirmation to be delayed. That's crazy. Here's why Chuck Schumer says this is one of the reasons he should be delayed, is because he's been playing games during his confirmation hearing.
Judge Gorsuch looks like he's playing dodgeball with the Senate Judiciary Committee. He is bent over backwards to avoid revealing anything at all about his judicial philosophy.
He has been a judge for over 10 years and has written many opinions, so his judicial philosophy should be right there in documents that have already been published. This is Senator Chuck Schumer's weak attempt to distract people. It doesn't sound to me like Neil Gorsuch was playing dodgeball when he was asked whether he'd have any trouble ruling against the president who appointed him.
That's a softball, Mr. Chairman. I have no difficulty ruling against or for any party other than based on what the law and the facts in the particular case require.
That's not dodgeball. That's saying he's going to rule based upon the law. And Mr. Gorsuch goes on to say he has...
It's appropriate for a judge to do so, no matter who's doing the asking.
So happening now, the confirmation hearings go on while the Democrats continue to dig them a deeper and deeper hole. They may be digging their own political grave. But not digging a political grave is building a better America.
A better America.
We want a very big tax cut, but cannot do that until we keep our promise to repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare.
Herman Cain's connected, unfiltered perspective every day.
And to that end, they have made some changes along the way to incorporate requests by some of their Republican constituencies. Paul Ryan says they've incorporated ideas to address the concerns of many members of Congress.
Giving states the ability to take a total block grant for Medicaid, giving states the incentive to have work requirements, preventing non-expansion states from expanding and gaming the system. This is the most pro-life legislation we've had since partial birth abortion. It's a massive tax cut, and we made the tax cuts effective in 2017. All of those things were requests by these members.
So it has gotten better because they've incorporated some of their requests. They did some other things like ending the, making some of the things end earlier rather than later. Some things that are basically minor. Now, I want you to call your member of Congress and encourage them to vote for the American Health Care Act. That switchboard number is 202-224-3121. Here's why I want you to encourage them to vote for it. First, some of them claim that they made a promise to the American people to repeal Obamacare. Yes, they did. But they didn't make a promise as to how they were going to do it. And so the Republicans came up with the plan to do it for it to go as fast as possible and not run into that famous Senate filibuster to be used to prevent anything from being done. So that excuse to me, folks, does not hold water. Here's the second reason that I believe they should vote for it. They should vote for it because you can't go back to what was there before the Unaffordable Care Act because it doesn't exist anymore. Jim Jordan, who is a representative from Ohio, this morning he was explaining supposedly why he will not support the American Health Care Act.
You asked some of the key questions. Does it repeal Obamacare? No, it doesn't. Even Krauthammer, who's actually for the legislation, has said that it's Obamacare light. You asked the question, does it reduce premiums? No, it doesn't. Even the CBO said that premiums are going to continue to rise under this plan. And of course, does the legislation unite Republicans? And it doesn't even come close because you got every major conservative organization in the country opposed to it.
Doesn't reduce premiums. Let me start with that one. It's not supposed to reduce premiums. Individuals reduce their premiums. If you make the flawed assumption that you got to keep all of the junk into your health insurance that you were mandated had to be in there from Obamacare, yeah, your premiums won't go down. But the beauty is you get to choose what coverage you want, so your premiums go down based upon what you want to be covered with. That's a flawed argument. The other argument that Congressman Jordan makes, many organizations across the country are against it. Yeah, but why? Many of the organizations are against it because they're, quite frankly, misleading some of their constituency. And then thirdly, he said, it doesn't really repeal Obamacare. No, it doesn't. And allow me to explain why it does not, in the purest technical term possible, doesn't technically repeal all of Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel. It's because there is no pre-Unaffordable Care Act there anymore, folks. Let me give you this metaphor and analogy. We started with the building, health care and health insurance, with leaks in the roof. We needed to fix the leaks. But the Unaffordable Care Act, also known as the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, it blew up the building and left it in a pile of splinters. The health insurance plan you were supposed to be able to keep is gone because the Unaffordable Care Act defined it out of existence. Yes, you were lied to. Many doctors some people were supposed to keep are gone. Those doctors can't afford to see some patients because they were forced onto Medicaid, which pays doctors on the cheap in order to try to save the program some money. Yes, you were lied to again. Competing insurance companies in over a third of the counties in this country are gone. They pull out because they couldn't compete under the demands and the mandates of Obamacare. So in some counties, there's only one insurer, which means your rates are going to be high. Some people's jobs are gone. The mandate to provide health insurance if you had 50 employees or more forced some employers to reduce their workforces because they couldn't afford it. It's pure and simple. Couldn't afford it. And then many of the so-called health insurance exchanges are gone. Many of them went bankrupt, and some of them never got off the ground. See, these are the main reasons that Secretary of Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price said last week, we can't just repeal without replacing. People will get hurt and left with no options. That's because the Unaffordable Care Act killed a lot of the good things that were there by blowing up the entire building. So if the Republicans were to do a direct repeal law first, we would be left with a pile of splinters. We have no building to repair. It's gone. Now, that's why I believe that the AHCA is a good start. Some of the favorite features are no mandates, no penalties, repeal of taxes hidden in the Unaffordable Care Act, allowing the states to manage Medicaid, and most recently, as you just heard Representative Ryan point out, allowing states that opted for Medicaid expansion to keep it and not force states who didn't get the expansion to take it. All of these features are the exact opposite of what's in the Unaffordable Care Act, which has failed miserably. No one gets hurt with the American Health Care Act, except maybe the insurance and prescription drug companies who will have to retool their business models again, because when they built their models around the Unaffordable Care Act, it didn't work. And so now they're pushing back because they don't want to retool. Well, memo to insurance and prescription drug companies. Retool. The American Health Care Act is a great start. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Delivering trusted solutions for a better America.
He's telling America what we need to hear and helping activate everyone in the right direction.
Herman Cain.
Alrighty.
Hey, I gotta put you on hold. So do you want to talk to him about it? Okay, perfect. Thanks. Hold on.
You got your ears on, Herman?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to shift your attention to some very important news.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to listen because you just might learn something.
Okay.
A case of chivalry or a phobia? A theory about why President Trump grabbed the British Prime Minister's hand, now getting the thumbs down. CNN's Jeannie Mose explains all this.
Whether it be not shaking the German Chancellor's hand or clutching the hand of Britain's Prime Minister, President Trump's hands seem to end up in headlines. For instance, the BBC headline, Donald Trump is scared of stairs? Scare case chortled one British paper back when President Trump took Prime Minister May's hand as they navigated a ramp at the White House. Seems British government sources told the British press that President Trump held May's hand because he has bathyphobia, a fear of ramps and stairs. A fear the household pets. That's President Bush nudging Barney. The Trump stairs jokes were ramped up.
Finally, an explanation for all those escalators.
Escalators are great. They're really, really amazing. And I've been told I look really great on them.
Ever since first hearing about the phobia rumor, I've become obsessed with watching President Trump watch his step. Really watching his step coming down the stairs of the Capitol, even while climbing just a couple of steps at the White House. Coming off his plane, eyes on his feet, clutching the railing. He once noted how President Obama used to jog down the stairs. Hopping and bobbing all the way is so inelegant and unpresidential. Do not fall. President Obama caught himself while Gerald Ford and Hillary didn't. When asked if the president has fear of stairs, a White House spokesperson said, "No offense, but this is an absurd question." And now Britain's Prime Minister has told Vogue, "I think he was actually being a gentleman." We were about to walk down a ramp, and he said it might be a bit awkward. The Prime Minister throws cold water on the bathmophobia theory. Guess that means we can cancel that ban on steps.
All new houses will have to be single-story. No stairs.
Ginny Mo, CNN.
First of
I'm
all,
a little bit. I'm about 20% dumber after listening to that.
I'm 40% dumber after listening to that. First of all, that was an imitation of Trump's voice. You know that, don't you? That wasn't Donald Trump. That was an imitation of his voice.
No, that was late night TV.
That's why
I'm watching the
okay.
video.
Yeah.
That was a very good Donald Trump, though.
It was an imitation, but how ridiculous.
Bathmophobia.
What did they call it?
Bathmophobia. Which I would think that's a fear of bathing.
Yes.
Which some people in this building have.
It should be called stairs-ophobia. That's just unbelievable.
Oh.
Well,
every time I think of turning my cable back on, I just watch news clips like that and think, nope, ain't turning it on.
Well, you said I might learn something. The answer is I didn't. I'm dumber. I'm now dumber after listening to that.
I want you to listen to high-quality journalism.
Okay, when you find some, I will. Hey, bring it. I'm open. You show me some high-quality journalism, and I'll listen to it. Okay, wall-to-wall calls. Did I effectively throw Jim Jordan under the WHIO bus?
You didn't say WHIO.
I know. Did I need to?
Well, you could have.
Okay.
They sent it to us.
Okay.
I don't know if that was Jimmy Fallon. Who was that?
Probably not. So, I mean, if you're calling about the article, you would kind of have to tell him what it says and what's your reaction to it. So, what's your point about it?
Pretty legal. Oh, the naysayers are calling.
Yeah,
I gotta get to the dunk part. We don't get kicked off. Where is it? Is it a different song?
Here it comes.
That's it? Yeah. I like that. Okay, take it down so we don't kicked off of YouTube. Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. We are talking about the American Health Care Act. And I want you to call your member of Congress and encourage them to vote for it. The switchboard number at the Capitol is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. I want you to light it up, folks. Here's why I want you to ask them to vote for it. Because here are the reasons. The reasons they claim it's flawed are weak. There's no before to go back to. And if you were to do a direct, clean repeal of Obamacare, they could get that through because you only need 50% plus one in the House and you only need 51 in the Senate. But then the Democrats have vowed they would use all measures possible to block any proposal that the Republicans put on the table. This is why they are doing it the way they are doing it. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. That's why. Under the circumstances, folks, that's a smart way to approach it. And all of these people who are out here harping about it doesn't go far enough, it's a great start. Or it goes against some of their philosophical points of view. Yeah. Stand on your philosophical point of view and help the Republicans blow it, because they're not going to get another chance. And here's the other thing that a lot of people forgetting. Obamacare / the Affordable Care Act / the Unaffordable Care Act was forced down our throats, and it was a bad bill. The American Health Care Act, they're not trying to force it down our throats, and it is a good bill. More wall-to-wall calls on the Herman Cain Show, 877-310-2100. Now, don't call the Capitol switchboard and think you have rapid fire. That's right here. And I'm Herman Cain. I'll be back, y'all. train. Okay, you got any more things you want me to hear that's going to make me dumber? Shane, I'm back. I'm back. This is when I get it.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I can't reach the button. So J. Anthony Brown's been here.
Jared,
Yeah, what's up?
you raise an interesting question. I don't know the answer. Why is Mike Lee so adamant about killing the proposal that's in the House? He started talking against it before he knew what was in it.
Yeah, just like the Democrats.
I don't know his motivation.
I think it's Ashley's fault.
I blame me too. So a tree fell on a house in Jackson County and killed the guy in bed, but his wife and kids escaped. How did they not save him?
Probably crushed.
So she was able to get out of the bed, laying right next to him, you think?
You just never know how those things can fall. I tell you, if one of my trees fall, God, I'm a goner.
Yeah, you are.
I am gone.
You are. I would agree. Or you're gonna be trapped.
Gus could kill me.
Yeah. So yeah. Agreed.
That's why I always go out and make nicey with Gus.
You named the tree Gus?
Yep.
Ashley looked at him and she's like, "That's a Gus."
That's a huge tree.
It is massive.
Like Shane can't put his arms all the way around it.
Oh yeah, no.
Really?
Right next to his back door, off his back deck.
It grows through the deck. It's awesome. It's an awesome tree. And how tall would you say that sucker is? I couldn't even.
Do you need to have it?
6 stories. 7
You need to have it cut back a little bit?
That would cost a fortune, though.
Not cut it down.
It's not a Gus. Those trees are hundreds of years old. They are
Okay.
amazing.
Gus isn't leaning, is it?
Oh no.
Oh, well, you're in good shape.
Oh, they're solid.
See, I had one leaning over my garage. I had that sucker cut down.
I don't know
oh,
how they
no.
would ever get that thing down. I really don't know.
Mm.
I'd have to ask the neighbors if we can like tear down the fence to get a crane or something. I don't know.
Big Gus, huh?
It's Gus.
Yes, he has. He actually did a long number on it yesterday. I don't know how much he's going to talk about it today because he spent so much time on it yesterday. But urbancane.com and scroll down to the news packet.
All right. We're still running. Superstition.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. I have a request of my listeners. Call the Capitol switchboard at 202-224-3121 and ask for your representative's office and ask them to vote for the Republican plan, American Health Care Act. Why? Because I think it's a great start. A great start. The Democrats and the establishment have done a great job of trying to confuse people and to convince them that the plan that the Republicans have put together and tweaked based upon input doesn't go far enough or doesn't solve the problem. You even have one of the architects, Ezekiel Emanuel, out there doing interviews claiming lies about the American Health Care Act, telling people that the premium's not going to go up. No, they're not, because you'll be able to choose the coverage that you want. They don't tell you the assumption. They just make these blanket statements, and people are supposed to just believe it. And a lot of it is simply not true, folks. You got to put it in context. Alan, you on the Herman Cain Show.
Hey,
what's on your mind?
Hey, Herman, it's exciting to always talk to you. I call in pretty frequently. What's on my mind is a couple of things. One, I agree with you on the American Health Care Act, in that doing all these things will definitely help. The only concern I have there, so one question is, number one, are we going to move away from value-based care to back to fee-for-service? That's one of my concerns. And the other thing I wanted to let you know, there's an article that just came out about Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Party resistance.
Right.
There was an HB article, How Attacks on Trump Reinforce His Strategy. And between the two, if they continue, I think come mid-elections, and I think you're going to agree, people don't like liars.
Right.
And one thing about America is that's what our judicial system is based on. When you go into court and you have a jury, what do they do? Right?
Yeah.
You're in front of your peers, and what are we doing? We're looking for evidence.
Yes.
And people are very good at detecting it. And Jerry Spence wrote the book, How to Argue and Win Every Time, and that's exactly what he talks about in his book. And the guy's never lost a case ever.
Right.
So I think it's just going to come back to haunt them.
The Democrats?
Mid-election.
The Democrats?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, the Democrats. It's more of the same stuff.
Yeah. And see, I'll let you go on, Alan, in a minute. And see, here's the thing. That the lies are becoming clearer and clearer in terms of how they're lying and what they're lying about. That's the thing. And they don't appear to be letting up. I mean, here's a great example. A great example. Shanny B, play that cut. I think we called it number 16, where Chuck Schumer, minority leader in the Senate, blatantly made this statement, which is a lie.
About Gorsuch?
No, about the FBI investigation. Number 16, I think is what you called it.
You can bet if the shoe were on the other foot and a Democratic president was under investigation by the FBI, the Republicans would be howling at the moon about filling a Supreme Court seat in such circumstances. After all, they stopped the president who wasn't under investigation from filling a seat with nearly a year left in his presidency.
Alan, this president is not under an investigation. Director Comey said there is an ongoing investigation into these charges relative to the connection, the Russian connection, and he simply said that they found no evidence relative to the tweet about being wiretapped. There is no investigation of this president going on. Chuck Schumer is flat out misleading and lying to the American people. Then you got Maxine Waters out there who says, get ready for impeachment. Based on what? I'm not mad at you, Alan, but it just illustrates your point, okay?
And if I can make one last quick point, that in the article about Schumer, it comes and states equivocally, there's another one about Gorsuch, and basically he should know better than saying all those things because he sits on the Judicial Committee, and he knows, I want to not use that word, darn well, judges don't base decisions on party or who what's better for what's based on law, and then one more step, appellate court decisions are not based on fact.
Yeah.
They're based on previous fact presentation.
Right.
So I agree. Yeah, what he said about the investigation lie, and again, it goes back to I believe in the American system, I believe in American people, and we just don't like liars, and we're very good at detecting it. And after a while, those that don't are just the holdouts, and you know how that goes.
Yep, I would agree. Thanks for your thoughts, because you're absolutely right on. The old saying, the truth eventually is going to float to the top. Let them keep stirring this, and more of the truth, like butter in buttermilk. I remember when my grandmother used to churn milk, fresh milk from the cow, and she would churn the milk until the butter rose to the top, skim off the butter, use the butter for cooking, and then had good old-fashioned buttermilk left over. But you're right. A lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are waking up. Hello, Ann. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Herman. I was calling about something I heard on the Tucker Carlson show last night.
Right.
The governor of Puerto Rico was on there, and he said two things. One was that the United States does not have an official language. And two, he said that the Puerto Rican people will be voting for citizenship to become a state of the United States soon. And I was wondering, I'm sure they can do that, but do we also get a vote as to whether we want them as a 51st state?
Yes. Yes, we do. I don't know the exact legal process, but they have to vote that they want to become a state first, and then I think it requires 2/3 of the remaining states to also say that they can become a state. That's that's my current understanding of the law.
Because I did learn good history when I was growing up.
You did.
What about this thing about we do not have an official language? Because I always thought the English language was our language.
There is no law that makes English our official language. That is true. Someone proposed a law to make it our official language decades ago. I don't remember exactly when, and it failed in Congress by a few votes. So technically, we do not have English as a legal official language for this country. It's just been accepted and adopted as that. Now, that being said, I strongly favor a law that says English is our official language. And we will recognize and respect all others, but English ought to be the respected and official language of this country.
Herman, that's why you're the best.
I just happen to know more stuff than I know, but I do remember those facts, though. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
Okay, well, thank you for being our voice out here. You're wonderful.
Thank you. Don't forget to call the Capitol switchboard and tell her.
I did.
Good.
I heard you earlier this morning, and I got right on the horn and gave them a call.
Love you for that, folks. Light up that switchboard, 202-224-3121. Ask them to vote for the American Health Care Act, the Republican plan. Hello, Bill. Welcome. What's on your mind today?
Herman, it's good to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
I had a question about the healthcare replacement plan. I know it has several phases over 10 years. How likely is it that any 10-year plan is going to see the light of day?
Well, the 10-year time frame refers to the estimates of spending that take place during that particular time. So once it's passed and the rules are put in place, then it probably will stay in place. It's not like a 10-year budget, so to speak. So once the law is passed, and in phase 2, well, actually, the law to defang Obamacare in phase 1, that's really what this is. And then in phase 2, Secretary Price will be able to undo some of the rules that they have the authority to undo. Undoing some of those rules will also help to put this thing in motion to be able to hit those 10-year targets. The biggest thing that appeals to me out of all of this, and the other side and some of the Republicans have done a good job confusing people, is that you get choice back. They took away our choice. They took away our plan. They took away our doctors, our choice of doctors, and they took away us deciding what we wanted to be covered for. I don't need to be covered for maternity care. We're not going to have any more babies, okay? Our babies are 45 and 39 years old coming up tomorrow. One of them's birthday is tomorrow. I just happened to think about that. So we don't have any babies, and we're not going to have any more babies. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. So I'm not worried about the 10-year horizon because a lot of assumptions go into determining what that really is. Renee, you're on the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Mr. Cain. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Just curious about the other phases, and you partially answered the question with your previous caller. Are they going to be needed to be legislated, and does the reconciliation process apply only to one time per calendar year? The essence of my question is, any further changes, would they be subject to normal legislation in the Senate?
Good question. The first phase, which is going on in the House, isn't for 1 year. It's indefinite. It's indefinite until Congress passes something else. Phase 2 is all regulatory amendments that can be made by the Health and Human Services Agency. Let me give you an example. Some of the rules passed after Obamacare passed impacted Medicare and Medicaid funding. They stole $500 million out of Medicare in order to help fund the start of Obamacare, as an example. They could do that using rules, since that particular agency oversees Medicare and Medicaid. So what Tom Price has said, they've got to go through all of the rules that were put in place one by one to decide which ones help people and patients and which ones hurt people and patients. That's the best example. And there are over 1,400 of those rules. That's all in phase 2. Phase 3 is when they have to pass any legislation to clean up anything that didn't get done in 1 and 2. That's going to be a battle, and they already know it's going to be a battle. But let's get the 2/3 done that we can get done with phases 1 and 2, which is what I'm saying. Great question. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Credible, experienced, engaging. Herman Cain.
He keeps it real.
He gives it to you as it is. Daily solutions for a better America.
All right, something's going on outside of Parliament.
In Britain?
Yeah, shots fired, loud explosion, then shooting. Sky News is now.
Sky News. We played really loud weather.
Move towards the palaces of Westminster. You can see now many more police resources arriving there.
Robert Nisbet is there for us down at the scene. Robert, what can you see? What can you tell us?
Hello. The chap was taken to hospital.
Back at the moment, you can see.
Let's pause for Austria. Let's pause for Austria's weather. Their ski report.
About 4 or 5 minutes ago, and there was a wave of people running down the street, including workmen and others who work around Parliament, who just said they didn't know what was going on, but they heard a noise and they were told just to get out as quickly as possible. Just above us now, Jane, we could hear a helicopter. It seems to have gone. I think you can see it there. That is the air ambulance.
Ashley, no more calls.
Okay.
I got to wrap it up with the Capitol switchboard thing.
Y'all gonna do breaking news?
I'll do that. I didn't say anything about not doing breaking news, did I? What's wrong with you?
All right, guys.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Jared.
Good stuff. Hey, Jared, recycle some of that stuff that I didn't hit on today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I threw in the gag order.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about the gag order.
As well as that restriction on presidential powers.
I like it. Yep. Good. You're on it.
All right, guys.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And have a good day. Bye.
It was up in the air. I can't see it anymore, so we think it has landed. No, it's just coming in there. We see. There is the air ambulance landing. It looks as though it's going to try and land on Parliament.
But Shane, is this all we know? Is that a guy was shot?
Square, for those who are not familiar with the geography, is just at the end of Westminster Bridge, where we believe this incident has taken place. But a noticeable air of, as you can imagine, a panic in the air. A lot of police are obviously stationed around Parliament in this particular area anyway, so there was a number of emergency services around, but I haven't felt that level, that surge of panic in this area I haven't felt
surge of panic.
It's clearly a serious incident. Some of these workmen around us at the moment who were running in their high-vis vests and hard hats away from work that they were doing on the street around here. So obviously it is a confused situation at the moment. We're awaiting more information, but the air ambulance has just landed in Parliament Square.
Herman was asking.
Hang on. I've got news in my ear.
Square there at the moment. So Parliament Square, for those who are not familiar with the geography, is just at the end of Westminster Bridge.
Okay, what's up?
I was just asking, is all we know is that a man was shot and he's lying there outside the gates of Parliament?
I've got a reporter here.
Okay.
It's developing. Now I'll play this little piece here.
Okay.
Of course, everybody's screaming terrorist attack, but yeah, you don't know.
Which is reporting that of what? Ambulance?
Air ambulance.
Air. Oh, okay. How long is the segment? The cut.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. Yes, we're going to be back tomorrow, but don't forget to go to hermancain.com for the latest commentary, the latest audio on why I support and we should be supporting the American Health Care Act. But we just got some breaking news announcement that came in. Says the shots were fired outside of Parliament in Britain, and a loud explosion took place, and a man is supposedly lying there shot outside the gates to Parliament.
As you can imagine, a panic in the air. A lot of police are obviously stationed around Parliament in this particular area anyway, so there was a number of emergency services around, but I haven't felt that level, that surge of panic in this area I haven't felt it at all. I mean, this is clearly a serious incident. Some of these workmen around us at the moment who were running in their high-vis vests and hard hats away from work that they were doing on the street around here. So obviously it is a confused
And the
situation
Parliament
at the
is
moment.
on
We're
lockdown.
awaiting more information, but the air ambulance has just landed in Parliament Square.
And Parliament is on lockdown. Stay tuned right here for follow-up on this developing story. You're listening to The Herman Cain Show. I'm your host, Herman Cain. Bye, y'all.